Hi, Leonie. Lovely to have you again this week. It's been a little while, hasn't it? And we've not had so many.
Yes.
We've all got a bit
to catch up.
Yeah, stress and overwhelm takes over us all.
Yes.
Even we get affected by it. We've talked about this before. What I thought today I'd like to talk about is breathe, or breath work, as others like to call it. Obviously, I don't go into the real deep stuff. Some people do a lot of more meditation, the yoga side of that, but just really about bringing calm to us when we're physically stressed in the body. And it's really an interesting subject. I don't know if you know much about breath work, but it talks about how it helps you to release the toxins and get rid of all of that rubbish that we're holding. It can uplift our mood. In fact, it even talked about how it can even help you to alkaline the body as well, the pH, because I suppose really when you're calm, stress is the key to disease, isn't it? So if we're calm, then obviously it's going to have a beneficial effect to us. And the other thing is also when we're stressed, what have you noticed what happens with your breathing when you're really, really stressed?
It's very shallow.
Yeah,
it's very shallow.
Yeah, we breathe faster, don't we, as well?
Yes.
I was thinking, so that straight away sends a trigger to the brain, doesn't it, to start thinking, oh, I need to get out of this situation, and then that panic or that anxiety starts to trigger. And then we've got that, what we call fight and flight, isn't it? We want to run away from that situation because it's like this big lion coming towards us and off we go. Well, interestingly, with breath work, that can really change that situation. So what it does, when we stop and then we take that time to breathe in a specific way, it calms the body. And so therefore that heightened state that we're in starts to lessen and lessen. And that's a really good thing. That really helps us to take that threat away, if you like, from the brain that's like on that fight and flight mode. So all of that's always going to be beneficial to us, isn't it, in that situation?
Most definitely.
When we do it, what it is, it's like sending this message to you and to me to say, whoa, everything's okay, don't worry, let's calm. And that's the same when we do the breath work. At the end, we count. So we count so many in, we hold for so many, and we out for so many. And what that does is that helps our mind to really focus on what we're doing. And instead of where it's thinking and it's running 100 miles a minute, it helps us move forward. We start to calm. So it's really good for us. But
100 miles a minute. You're being very generous. I think it was like 150 miles a minute at some stage for me.
Yeah, but sometimes it is literally your mind's just going from one thing to the next, isn't it? And
it's terrible.
Yeah, and you think, well, how can I bring it back? And this is such a simple technique that can just help us start on that journey to bring it down. Because it's so easy, isn't it, to get overwhelmed and stressed, I think, today, to be honest.
Oh, most definitely. And like even us, you and me, we also hit that. I can teach people what to do, but when it hit me now, I was completely stunned. And I had to remind myself, go and look at the things that you teach your clients to do and go and try it on yourself. But there was no Leonie that said to me, go and do it now, because Leonie had to tell herself, go and do it now. And it can be quite a frightening, scary experience to just stop and just, just calm down. Calm down. Yeah, but I would like to, with the breathing technique, I've got something that I teach my clients as well. It's called the 7-11 technique.
Okay.
Yes. So, and because it's 7-11, it's easy to remember. So they breathe in for 7 counts and they breathe out for 11 counts. And then they do it again for 7 counts and out for 11 counts for about a minute or two, just so that you can slow down.
Well, that's interesting, because that's very similar what we're going to be talking about in a minute. I use this technique really to help, if you like, the body rest and reset, and it's probably the same for you. And when you do it, it helps you to have better focus, a better outlook on life. It also helps, like we've just talked about, lessening that stress, gives us more control on that anxiety, and it has a calming effect on the body. So when you take those few minutes, and really every day we should be doing it, even when we're not stressed, it helps us to focus, to be calm, and but not just, you know, physically, but mentally as well. And that helps us cope with the everyday stresses. We will always have those major things that come up, and actually it's like having the rug pulled out from under our feet. And then yes, we've got these little tools that we know that we should implement, but when it's yourself, it's really hard. So we're going to do that right now. Now, normally what I do is I choose an essential oil. At the moment, I'm using Motivate. It smells like, have you ever had Murray mints in Africa? Okay, I don't know how to, but that's what it smells like, English Murray mints. Okay, so I use that. That's quite a really nice essential oil. Or you got things like, I've got a little collection that I have of all different emotions.
Awesome.
So you got like peace, console, which is like if you're grieving of something, some sort. Forgiveness, you got passion, cheer, and motivate. And they're really good oils to use on a daily basis. So what I do with these is I will just put them onto my hand. And then we'll do a couple of deep breaths, and then we'll do the proper breathe. So I'll just and just breathe them in and out. Because while we're doing this, we're using the limbic system, and it's like a lock and key. So as you breathe those essential oils in, they lock into place, and they go directly to the center of the brain. And there's nothing else that can get there that fast. Within a few seconds, they're there. And so they're then, that essential oil and its benefits are working on the body as well.
That's awesome.
That's a really good way to start your day. So if you've got if you're feeling stressed most days, then I would put a couple of drops of lavender. Just do that every single morning, just to start. It will make sure you're in a calm state. Obviously, the only thing with lavender is always if you're going driving, then something I would say avoid from, because it can make you sleepy, depending on how much you use. And then, so what we're going to do, we're just going to shut our eyes, and we're going to deep breathe in for 5. We're going to hold for 5, and we're going to exhale for 5. And what we're going to do is think about when we're breathing in, we breathe in through our nostrils, and we're going to be breathing in all that good energy. And when we exhale, we're letting go of all that stress and anxiety that we've got. So are you ready? So we're going to
let's do this.
Breathe in.
Yeah.
Hold. And release. And again, deep breathe in.
Okay.
Hold. And release. And it's got the world go by. Deep breathe in. Hold. And release. All in its world in horses and everything came bundling by. There we are.
The world keeps on going on.
So you can do that sort of 3 to 5 times or more if you need to.
Yes.
You just, I mean, the only thing I would say to most people, you have to be careful of, if you do it too much, it can make you go a little bit lightheaded. So just taking your time to do that. So it's very similar, like your 7 in, 11 out, but with big groups of 5, just to help to bring that down. And I think that's such a quick tool that we can use.
Just to look at our breathing. It's very important.
Yeah.
Very
important. And also at the same time, you're getting all that oxygen in.
Yes, because I was about to say, because when we get into this stressful situation, when we have our shallow breathing, we don't get enough oxygen through.
Yes, exactly.
So we're actually choking or suffocating our system and our brains, because it's not getting enough fresh air in.
And that's where the panic sets in, isn't it? Because the body needs all of that to function. And I was thinking, so when we're doing that and we're calming and we're bringing ourselves down into that state, we can do that as many times as we need to throughout the day. We don't need anybody to give us all of, you've got to get this or you've got to buy that, but it's something that we can all access every single day. And there are different ways of doing it, and there are much different meditative ways of doing things as well. But just as a whatever environment, in work, at home, out shopping, no one's really going to take much notice if you stop and just did that wherever you were.
Yes, correct. Yes,
You know,
most definitely.
well,
I tried something for the past 2 nights now, to also look. I sleep. That is one thing that I can do, is I can sleep, and stress has never kept me awake. Fortunately, fortunately. But what I did these past 2 nights, I get some of this, these sounds. I use Spotify, and you've got these ambient sounds where there's a river running under a bridge or stuff like that. And I've been listening to that, and you know what? I fell asleep with this water running sounds. And when I woke up, I literally woke up an hour later when it stopped playing. I woke up and like, what happened?
Exactly.
And in that hour, it was so refreshing. I thought, hang on, let me do this again.
But it's the sound of water. It's that sound. Because funny enough, something I've been working on lately is doing recordings of different sounds. And we're adding something to it called binaural beats, because they work on different levels of the brain. And that's really interesting how sound, again, is a frequency, but how it really affects the mind and can really help you to calm into sort of, not quite meditative. There are ones you can use for that, but they might help you with focus. They might help you with just sleep, like you just spoke about, or just calming that anxiety state. And that's quite interesting. But I mean, same as you, if you go, like when you walk in the woods and you hear the rustling of the leaves, all of those sort of noises, I think are really important to go and listen to. And I went out the other day and just recording water just trickling through, but you just like, it really does have a sound effect on the brain.
I'm listening to the birds there on your side.
Little Robin, he's amazing, isn't he?
Yes, it is such a beautiful noise, because one of the things that I was listening to also had the birds singing, and again, but each person has to find that thing that works for them.
Yeah.
For me, it was now listening to these birds singing over this running river, or over bamboo, because it gets that sound when it runs over a bamboo garden, for instance. It gets the different kind of sound, and that worked for me. So and couple that with the breathing. Well, most definitely it helps you to calm down.
Yeah.
And I suggested to a client earlier this week, because they're going through a bit of a tough time, this couple. I said, you need to learn how to breathe and relax before you respond to what's going on.
Yeah.
And again, like we said, it's simple things. You almost want to call them simple things.
Yeah.
I don't have to go spend a fortune on it.
Exactly.
Just check your breathing.
Yeah.
Just check your breathing.
That's one of the things, like us doing these things are there so that people can access them and just say, actually, go and watch this, or go and listen to that. And in fact, you can go and listen to some of my sound ones.
Yes,
that's your homework for this week.
Yes, I'll go listen to some of your sounds and see how it does.
And you can see how they help, and then you can comment.
Yes. Most definitely I will do that. Well, Jackie, this was super interesting, and this, again, it's easy things that we can use, especially in this economic state that we're in.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to spend a fortune to learn how to breathe.
No, and I think if you do have access to those essential oils, then add them in, put them in your diffuser, and get them going at the same time as listening to your sounds you're listening to, and doing your breathe work as well.
Yes.
I think that will really help. Something I was actually writing an article on yesterday, and it was talking about anxiety, but it was saying when you're in that state of anxiety, that's actually time to start journaling about it as well, because it helps you to maybe work out what you need to be working on as well. And it's a good way of discovering a bit of how you're feeling about yourself as well. So thanks ever so much for today, Leonie, for joining us.
I've got to tell you one more thing. for everybody that now says no, they don't have time because they're rushing home from
Yeah.
work and then they've got to do the cooking. Well, here's a tip. While you are cooking, use fresh herbs,
Yes.
because while you're using your fresh herbs, you can get the breathing in.
Yes.
Because I've been working lately, we've only been working with fresh herbs. So I get to chop up the rosemary and the parsley and everything.
The basil, chuck it in there.
Yeah, so I've been sniffing rosemary again.
Oh no, you're gonna get slapped.
So even while you are cooking, you get those fresh smell from the herbs in as well, and it can also help you. So while you are cooking, you can actually calm down.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good tip, actually, Leonie. Yeah, take advantage of all the things that we do and what's around us, you know.
Yes.
Because there is so much at our fingertips that we just don't realise that is so useful for us.
Because we tend to go for the most. Sorry, Jackie. Sorry, I think we tend to go for the most difficult solution sometimes when it's right there. Okay, now I'll stop talking. Okay,
that's okay. Only because it's going to cut out on us, you see. So
okay, thanks, Jackie. It was awesome speaking to you again today.
Thank you too.